morphin' time! Right, it's morphin' time! It's morphin' time! It's morphin' time!
Shut the fuck up!
Hello and welcome to KamenRider Blackman, and today I'm excited. I'm so upset. Now, I'm not so upset because I'm gonna go watch this movie afterwards, but I wanted to watch it again for this review because last night, basically, what I'm talking about is Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Once and Always, the movie that not only celebrates Mighty Morphin, but also 30 years of Power Rangers. This movie celebrates it. I went into it expecting that it was going to be just a good movie, but after watching it, it's a great movie. Now, we're going to be doing this review a bit differently. Instead of talking about the story, we're instead going to talk about things beat for beat, highlight to highlight. So, with that said, first I want to get my thoughts out on what I was expecting out of this movie. Personally, I did not think we were going to get a lot, but then I left this movie getting a lot, and I enjoyed the crap out of it. So much that I wanted to watch this movie again once I got off work. I unfortunately didn't get to, but I know I will watch it again after this recording. But now, talking about the movie, this is David Yoss's movie. Like, honest to God, Billy is at the center of everything because it all starts with him fighting the villain of the movie, Robo-Rita. But first, the movie opens with, of course, Power Rangers doing a Star Wars-like monologue. Then, first scene is Billy blasted to the ground. And once he stands back up, he morphs into action. I really like the first scene of the movie because it's Billy straight up holding his own against Putties. Once until the other Rangers come in so that they all fight Robo-Rita. And we'll talk about Robo-Rita in a bit, but for right now, let's talk about the second. Billy being the center of it all is the second biggest thing in this movie. The first biggest thing of this movie is the death of the Yellow Ranger, Trini. That was something interesting to touch on because if you all know, and I'm pretty sure if you're watching this video, you do know that Trini's actress, Thuy Trang, died way long ago in like 2001 in a car accident. Woo. Like, so the fact that they're touching on that topic is honestly surprising. And it's clear, and it's done to show, one, of course, to honor Thuy Trang by ending her character, but also having her legacy live on through Trini's daughter, Ming, who we'll talk a lot more about later. But yeah, Trini's dead. Show canonically speaking, Trini is dead. And wow, it was surprising. Along with another thing, which we will talk about in a bit. I think you all can guess what it is. But Trini is dead. Wow. Billy and Zach even go back and forth a bit about how they're going to break it to her daughter until she, of course, common movie trope number 461, Ming walks in on them going back and forth with each other and hearing that, well, one, that her mom is dead, and two, that they're Power Rangers. So, yeah, That's a woo surprise. Now, just to get this other thing out of the way with this movie, the Green Ranger and how it's seen in shots, despite the lack of, well, JDF, yeah, that's quite another touchy thing there too. But because this is a lot more recent, this might come off a bit mixed to some people. Now, Jason David Frank was nowhere near the production of this project. Matter of fact, there's a video out on YouTube. I forgot the name of it, but I would have to find it online. But there was some, I guess you can say, beef between JDF and Hasbro, to where they had some creative differences about how to go about things when they brought up doing something with Tommy. Whatever it was, Jason David Frank disagreed with it and hated the idea to the point where he wanted no involvement with the project whatsoever. Now, while the time rumors were flying around about a 30th anniversary, Jason David Frank made it very clear that he was nowhere near the project. And then he died. Then sometime later, we're seeing teasers for Once and Always with the Green Ranger. Wondering who is the Green Ranger? Yeah. To some, or possibly to others, most likely more diehard JDF fans, they may find this completely offensive, considering how much of a tiff that JDF and Hasbro had with each other, that anyone could find the Green Ranger's appearance to be insulting and disrespectful, since JDF wanted no part at all in the project. But I will be honest, and I will be fair, not a lot of attention is paid to Tommy. And frankly, that's the best they could do, since Tommy is not the center of attention for once in a PR-related special. Like, the character... Basically, the character is there, but he's not at the forefront. Matter of fact, there's no one even casted for the Green Ranger, but is there a Green Ranger? Is there a Tommy? Yes. Are they at the center of everything? No. And I think that's honestly as lightly as Hasbro could tread with this, and all for the better, because let's be honest right now, 3 out of the original Rangers aren't in this movie. So honestly, with how they don't take a back seat but are left out for a bit, we're better off having this as opposed to where I have my thoughts together now. With Tommy not having so much focus in this movie, we're better off having this as opposed to Grid Connection, where 2 out of 6 Dino Charge Rangers than other previous Rangers are still moving around and whatnot, and still in suit, communicating with the others, while there are other Rangers not in suit. So, better to have your characters sidelined for a bit than being able to tell that these are obviously stunt actors and not the actual actors. So, yeah. Now, as for going on with this, let's now... You know what? While we're at it now, let's actually move on to the other characters in this project. So, with the other characters in this project, 1 year later, because, I'm sorry, that's still surprising to me that this project, well, not the project, that they don't find Robo-Rita again till a whole year later. All the original Rangers, they show up to fight Robo-Rita and 2 revived monsters of hers. And Jason, Kimberly, and Tommy are captured to be part of Robo-Rita's plan. So, for backup, they call in Rocky and Catherine. Not to mention right now, they send an SOS out to so many Rangers, like almost all the Rangers out there, telling them to look out. But yeah, Rocky and Kat are called in to fill in for Jason and Kimberly. Clearly because Austin St. John and Amy Jo Johnson weren't called in for the project. Amy Jo Johnson, on one hand, she just, I don't know if she was invited or that she might have just declined to join. Actually, now I think about it, I think she just declined to join. And Austin St. John, I don't know if that controversy with him is still going on about him almost going to jail. So, especially since the older fans were going to be watching this, yeah, best to keep away from that for now. But yeah, Rocky and Kat, they're in since they are also the MMPR Red Ranger and Pink Ranger. So, crap, my mind blanked out. Basically now, oh god, I'm alright with that. Once I get my thoughts together, we can keep going. But with Rocky and Kat in to substitute, I like it, and I don't mind it. For one, I am a fan of Rocky. Steve Cardenas is awesome. He should get all the praise. And 2, in story, this is honestly much better having other Rangers substitute in as opposed to not being picked to come back at all. Whereas in every other team-up special ever, their characters were picked over other characters. For example, Once a Ranger, when Adam came back to be Black and not Zach, because they didn't want 2 black guys being 2 black Rangers? Who knows? But for Rocky and Kat to be able to morph too, they are giving 2 proxy power coins, which are copied power coins of the Tyrannosaurus, well, the original Tyrannosaurus and Pterodactyl coins. And the show even, well, this movie even says it too, that using duplicated powers is dangerous. Of course, remembering that great line that Linkara likes to go back to, too much pink energy is dangerous. But also, this is a real thing within the show about using duplicated powers and how it's dangerous. Not just from Mighty Morphin, but also from Dino Thunder, because remember the evil White Ranger clone arc? By the end of that saga, the powers were starting to not go out of control, but basically start pulling apart, hurting both Trent and the clone, because the morphing grid can handle that strain of 2 White Rangers, so only one could possess the power. So these proxy coins are what we get. And so, what do we talk about now? I guess now, let's actually talk about the Rangers themselves, because it's been years since we had these characters. Zach, right off the bat, since he left for the Peace Conference in Season 2, he's back now as a congressman, And he's also Trini's daughter Ming's guardian. Awesome. No, that is straight up impressive. I love it. It's just not just that he became a congressman, but because behind the scenes, the actors were all friends, especially with Tui Trang and Walter Jones and ASJ, since, well, unfortunately, the three of them did leave the show. But I like that because just another way to honor their friendship with their characters. Well, basically this, Zach being Ming's guardian. Billy became Batman. Like, honest to God, not even joking. Like, not actually Batman, but Billy has a tech company now, and he built the command center underneath it with an alpha and everything. Like, bruh, he's Batman straight up. It even says something when the rad bugs brought back to be the Batmobile for him. And Billy is also the one who recreated Rita for this. And it turns out a while ago, Billy and Alpha 8 were trying to revive Zordon by collecting energy from his Z-Wave to see if they can bring him back to life. But instead, what came back to life was Rita, but it's not like Rita, old Rita. Like, the evil essence of Rita Repulsa instead takes over Alpha 8, creating Robo-Rita, which then leads into the beginning of the movie. I'm not too sure how the science is about that with energy waves or light waves for that matter. I even tried looking it up earlier, but wibbly wobbly science with Power Rangers, since that shit happens. Hell, even from Zordon's energy wave, it didn't strip Rita of her powers, since they eventually came back by the time of Mystic Force. So, yeah. And so, for all the other characters, Rocky became a firefighter. I like that alone because, once again, Rocky is awesome. And the fact that he became a firefighter is cool. Gotta show respect to firefighters. And Kat, Kat. It's her and Tommy are married, of course, and she is JJ's mother. JJ, Tommy's son, who was mentioned in Dimensions in Danger. But yeah, Tommy and Kat are married and they have a kid. I'm not even all that upset about it because, let's be honest, we all knew it was Kat. We just didn't want to admit it, and we just wanted to complain about it, which is another thing with this movie. Not particularly the movie itself, but with fans and viewers and whatnot. And lastly, Adam and Aisha are in this flick. They make 2 cameos, but they are... It's like they're foreshadowing sort of SPD, but on their uniforms it says SPA. Their uniforms are as if they're foreshadowing SPD, but the sign on there is SPA. But yeah, Adam and Aisha in this movie, it's like they're playing, I guess you could say standby, as they're the ones getting the word out to other Rangers and whatnot. Even mentioning the Trubian Empire from SPD. So, who knows? This opens the door for a lot of opportunities, since a lot of references from previous seasons are name dropped in this movie. So, lastly, let's check. Alright, sorry, I'm just going back to what I'm getting. I guess now, let's actually talk about Robo-Rita, our villain for this movie. So, Rita Repulsa is back, and Barbara Goodson voices her. With Robo Rita's look, I'm not even all that upset by it. Because, let's be honest, we've all seen worse in this franchise. Thrax. What would y'all rather deal with from this movie? This or Thrax? I don't think this is all that bad. Hell, the Frankenstein monster from season 1, bruh. This ain't that bad. But yeah, Robo Rita in this movie, and she brings back 2 monsters from season 1, Snizzard and the Mighty Minotaur. I really like how the Minotaur looks, and I really like his voice. It just sounds Terminator-esque and threatening as hell. Like, as soon as he talks, the dude has all my attention. Not like how Majine has Thomas Jujubee's attention. Moving on. That's just no disrespect towards Thomas Jujubee. I've watched his videos. He sounds like a good dude. He just really likes Majine. Moving on. Let's see here. What else is there to talk about? I guess now let's actually talk a bit about this movie alone and how it is in tone. Now, when I brought up the whole Tommy Cat relationship thing and how people looked at it differently, like, I mean that for this movie alone, it's like I honestly feel like people try to find shit with this movie. Like, they're expecting how it was back in the day. Campy, cheesy, Saved by the Belly-ish. Despite the fact that they all have to be touching 50 now. It's like, one thing that I don't find too surprising, or I do a bit, with this movie is that not a lot of quips or jokes are being made because there's room for basically everyone's all serious. Not a lot of jokes are being made because drama. And I like that. Here's what I mean. When going into this movie, I feel like people were going into this just thinking, oh, it's not going to be all that great. It's going to be like how it was in the 90s. All jokey, because it's Mighty Morphin. Glah, glah, glah. And really, that shouldn't be a detriment to this movie. Because it's not a detriment. Like, everything is pretty serious throughout. Like, say whatever you want about Mighty Morphin, but here's something that everyone always seems to forget. What Mighty Morphin possesses and why it's so loved to this day and why the writers keep trying to copy it is because, first off, what the writers try to copy from it is all the hype. But in actuality, what Mighty Morphin possesses that other seasons that have tried to copy it lacked is a real sense of maturity. Yeah, it was a kids show, well, a silly looking kids show, but it had dramatic moments at time. Because hell, Green with Evil is a straight up example of that. Like, when Evil Tommy was beating people's asses, the jokes took a break. It's like, this show, like, this is a piece of genuine drama. Heroes reuniting, and even a new hero wanting to rise up, but is going about the wrong way because they're motivated by revenge. It's as if people were expecting Dimensions in Danger, And this is not like that at all. And seriously, as much as people say they want a PR special, and they mean a real PR special longer than like 30 minutes, we actually have that, and yet I don't understand why people still want to complain about it. Literally, look at the material that we have right now. Everything is serious throughout. Yeah, they make jokes, but there is still drama happening and ongoing. Like what I said, we also get a new hero in this movie, but they're motivated first by revenge, and she needs to learn, and does learn a couple of times, mainly with people telling her, you can't go about this through revenge. But that's just me. Now, for some of the more silly parts of the movie, since that's what people were expecting, all the silly parts, the return of hip-hop keto. I don't even take it as silly, I just take it as crazy and wow. The return of hip-hop keto. When Ming says, "Are you breakdance fighting?" and then Zach shimmies over to dodging a hit. First off, Walter Jones can still move around. He doesn't just have the dance moves, he also has the fighting moves. Because, wow, he can throw down. And when he brought back hip-hop keto, I was just, all my attention was on that and was impressed. Like, the man can still backflip for his age. Anytime I see someone about to fight and they start off with some dance moves, I'm looking at them as if they know violence now because of that. So congratulations once and always. When I see dancing in a fight now, I think that dancer's about to whoop ass. Like, yeah. But man, and this happens at the juice bar too, which, I'm sorry, first off, I gotta, hold up, it's been 25 years since we last seen the juice bar. Why does it still look the same? Like, no one's ever thought to redecorate, do something, new wall, like, do something new. Why does it still look the same? It looks dated. Honest to God, that's the one thing from the original series in this show that's still there. That's set up for the juice bar. Come on, it's 2023. Who has yellow walls anymore? That's not in their bathroom. I just, honest to God. And the lit up sign that says juice bar. Everything there was just wow. Just wow. I wasn't disgusted. I was just, well, I guess they're saving money. How old is this business now? They should have enough money saved. I don't know. Tax day was yesterday, so we'll see. Guess. Now, one thing that this movie... Here's another... This is the most shocking thing about this movie, is that the fight scenes can be brutal as hell. Because at the juice bar, Ming is out fighting putties, and the putties overwhelm her and slam her on her back on a table. Like, I watched that and I'm just thinking, damn, these putties aren't afraid to go hard. Another hard moment is when they're fighting the Minotaur monster and they're using their weapons. Rocky leaps in the air with the sword facing down, going to stab down the monster, killing him that way. Like, everything's coming more raw now. Because that was just, damn. Like, from the fight choreography, from the effect of Trini getting Thanos. Literally, like, when Robo-Rita blasted her, we didn't even see a corpse. She literally became Krillin after Frieza decided to kill him. Just, ooh. And now, let's talk about Robo-Rita's plan. Her plan is the one thing in this, her plan is the one thing in this movie that I found to be mixed. Like, she's kidnapping and turning, she turned Jason, Zach, and Kimberly into, not Kimberly, okay, rewind. Robo-Rita's plan, she wants to turn all the Power Rangers in the world into figurines to power up a time machine, which is first turning Rangers into figurines. That's what she did to Tommy, Jason, and Kimberly. And with those figurines, she wants to power up her time machine to go back in the past to tell her past life self to kill the Power Rangers before they become Rangers. And I guess she would have joined her in the past or something or the other. Because I think she said something about bringing that back over here too. But it sounded like a good plan, but the movie made it sound stupid-ishly with how convoluted it kind of started to make things. But not too convoluted, as I was able to follow along. And I didn't take the plans all that seriously at first. But then when I saw all those captured Rangers in like toy form empowering the machine, that's where I started taking it a bit more seriously, because the time machine is essentially being powered by the morphing grid, to which that's impressive. Or at least saying that and thinking that was impressive. Now, let's talk about the big thing with this movie. The CGI. Very first thing. First off, the CGI all around is fine. But the morphing sequence, I'm gonna be honest, I'm more biased towards the original. Like, the morphing sequence isn't bad, but honest to God, the morphing sequence is kind of like an understatement for the CGI in this movie, or at least some of it, where it all looks like it all came from something from a YouTube animation video. Honest to God, watch any MMPR parody on YouTube, you can find that type of animation on there. The only place where I don't have an issue with it is with the Zords. Now, at first, I thought I was going to feel a bit differently about how the Zords look, because from the trailer where we saw the Zords again, they suspended my disbelief because they looked like toys. Hell, they were toys. They were trying to remake that whole stop motion effect like from the original series. But here, the CGI actually looks quite impressive because it doesn't suspend my belief at all. Yeah, it looks pretty video game-esque, but I like seeing how the T-Rex looked and all the other Zords. The only one that could have suspended my disbelief a little bit was the Mastodon, but seeing the Zords moving around all together now, I believe that those were the actual Zords. Even seeing them form the Megazord, the Megazord fight though, the Megazord fight, I believed everything with that animation. It was lit. And let's talk about the cockpit. We're going to talk about that cockpit, not just that it's updated, but because Billy is in the front. Like what I said, this was David Yelch's movie. And hell, Billy built it. So yeah, he was going to put himself up front. He's not backseat driving no more. Jason's not there. Fuck him. Oh my God. Yeah, that Megazord fight was cool. But let's get to talking about Ming now. That girl was a real teenager with attitude. Within reason, too. Her mom just died, and she's fueled by revenge. So, she wants revenge. Not only does she want revenge, but she also blames Billy flat out for what happened to her mom. Because, to be fair, and technically speaking, this did all start because of Billy. Like, how many times in media does that have to be made clear to people? Reviving the dead does not seem like a good idea if you have seen The Lazarus Effect. But yeah, Ming has a hate out for Billy throughout a good portion of this movie. It only changes once she's finally able to morph. To which, by the way, why she wasn't able to morph before when she had the morpher honestly kind of makes no sense. No, seriously, it makes no sense because because for some odd reason the morpher wouldn't let her morph because she was motivated by revenge and needed to have a sense of justice to be able to. That makes no sense here because that's not how the power coins work. Hell, when Tommy became the Green Ranger, he was evil for a time, and the power coin itself wasn't corrupted. So yeah, that's not how that works. Like, or at least, let me put it this way. That's not how those particular powers work. For almost any other season where the powers bond to you, that's how it works more. But with Mighty Morphin, once the Rangers morph, they're infused with that power. So why the morpher wouldn't work for Ming because she wanted revenge? It makes no sense. And that only changes once she jumped in the way to take a hit for Billy. Like how Trini did for Billy that killed her. To which, two things. One, that is saying something that is what the hell, because that's how Trini died. Yet, because Ming had the power morpher on her person, that's not how she died. Well, that's not how she should have died. Two, that is the most common... Why? Oh my god. She jumps in the way to take the blast for Billy so that it would hit her and not him. That is such the most common about to die trope ever. You jump in front of a person so that you'll take the hit. Why don't you instead push them out of the way so that both parties won't get killed? Like, that's literally how Piccolo died in Dragon Ball Z. yet he jumps in front of Gohan as opposed to pushing himself and Gohan out of the direction of the blast so that no one would die. But yeah, Ming becomes the new Yellow Ranger once she decides she wants to defeat Rita in the name of justice. And I gotta be honest about the character Ming. She's phenomenal. I loved her. Well, I love her, and I believed her throughout the entirety of this movie. I believed her when she was in shock. I believed her anger, and I believed her throwing down with those collie sticks. I believed everything from her. She was a real teenager with attitude. And when she earned those powers, I couldn't help but be proud. Just proud, and oh my god. Proud. And so now, let's talk about how Robo Rita dies. Basically, the Rangers pull out their power weapons. At first, Billy stabs her in the back through her... No, Billy stabs her in the back through her heart. He stabbed her in the... Billy first stabs her in the back, but that didn't kill her. So instead, Ming uses the power daggers to pin her down, and Zack brings out the power axe as a cannon to shoot her to hell. And that's what kills her. All after the Megazord fight, which ended with the Megazord going up, slashing the giant monster to death, and killing it. Two of the most, on the list of most awesome things I saw in that movie, that make the climax of that Megazord battle, and the power axe killing Rita. I'm not even tripping over the fact that they didn't make the power blaster, because again, the power daggers were used to pin her down. So they used those weapons damn effectively, and I was all here for it. And in the end, everything goes back to normal. They go to the juice bar, and Zack and Billy just tell Ming all the stories that they have of her mom, and the movie ends with this... The movie actually ends with going back to this one episode where Kimberly was playing guitar and singing a song, but yeah, that's once and always. This movie, oh my god, it is awesome, it's fantastic, and here's what was on my mind on my way home about this movie. Not only is it fantastic, but this is a real movie. No, this is a real special that respects the legacy of Power Rangers. Not a lot of things are close second to it, but this movie does it. The only other thing that could do it is Forever Red. But this movie, it does it. It makes references almost to everything from previous seasons. Mighty Morphin, it's like, this movie just... This is a very good movie. And it's a good movie. I would definitely recommend you watching it. But here's the thing. I wouldn't recommend everyone to watch it. Like, if you're a fan of Mighty Morphin, but you're going to be a bit nitpicky about it, like, oh, the putties in here didn't sound like in the original, I don't think you're going to have much of a good time with this movie. Frankly, I wouldn't recommend this movie a lot to certain people, because I feel like certain people would view this movie like how they would view Dragon Ball Evolution. and be upset that Krillin's not in it. That's just me and how I take it. But this movie, to me, gets all the recommendations. It's solid. It grabbed my attention from start to finish. It respects not only the legacy of Power Rangers, but it did respect the actress Tui Trang. And they did so by actually closing out her character in a good, honorable way, to show that what she started has still going on strong 30 years today. So yeah, once and always, go watch this movie. You're not going to regret it. It's fun. It's entertaining. Who does it? So, with that said, thank you guys for watching. Please not forget to like, subscribe, share this video, and tell your friends about KamenRider Blackman. For what I'm going to do next, that's going to be interesting because I don't have a real big project to do until September, which is the 5-year anniversary where I'm going to review the original KamenRider. But in the meantime, we'll see what we'll get. So, go watch this movie. You're going to enjoy it and you're not going to regret it. Peace.
When I was your age, my mentor told me that only monsters seek revenge. That's what Robo Raider's doing now.